What do you think of when I say the word hypocrite? A politician, a preacher who got caught in a sex scandal? We're going to talk about that on Morning Love. And I'm bringing back True Blue. Be right back. Good morning. Welcome to Morning Love, your daily dose of love, hope, and encouragement from here at Buckwheat Farms Magic Emporium and Ballroom. Glad to have you with us. If you like our content, be sure to click like below. And if you want to have our content, notice of our content delivered to you daily, be sure to subscribe. And thank you to the 60 subscribers who've joined us. I asked you in the opening what you would think of when you hear the word hypocrite. And, we obviously have our idea. It's interesting when you think of where the origin of the word, though. Actually, hypocrite is from two Greek words that translate literally to an interpreter from beneath. And what that refers to is, in ancient Greek theater, actors would wear large masks that would represent who they were supposed to be depicting to the audience, and so they would literally be speaking from beneath the mask. And Carl Jung referred to this basically as our persona. It's the social face that we present to the world. It's how we want to be perceived, how we want the world to see us. And often it's based on our projected ideas on what we think the world wants. But it's an interesting thing, and when you talk about colors, and if you've seen my content before about there is no truth, and we talked about the blues, and is this true blue, or is this true blue, or this, and even the blue, kind of blue-green behind me, are these true blues? What is the true blue? And in doing so, we're talking about the color pigmentation and how that came into being. Check the content out. Don't want to go through all that again. But this weekend, when we went down to see our granddaughter, we also saw their parents. And my stepson, he's a painter, and he was talking about a project they had where they had painted red paint repainted some doors and put the red paint over a white primer. And they said everywhere they retouched, even though the paint matched exactly in the can, in the pigmentation, it showed up. And what they found out was that they had used a darker, I think a black primer behind the original paint. And it's interesting because no matter how much you think that you cover up that undercoat, that because of the light, and not every minute particle of it can be seen, can be covered. So there's small, infinitely small particles that are reflecting a different underneath there, that are in between those particles of red. And so the underneath is actually shining through, and that's actually what happens is the underneath shines through the overcoat to make the changes in our colors. Now, the thing is as I said before about the color blue is relatively late to the table as far as colors go. It took a long time for us to be able to communicate effectively so that we could all have a common perception of shared blue, so we could communicate. Because if I were to say blue and you said this and I said this, then Sherwin-Williams is out of business because we can't agree on what that is. So there had to be an initial blue, and then as our perception increased to discern the minutia, then the tones came about, and now it's almost an infinite number of different tones and different shades and variances of every color. And as we perceive those more and more, it becomes harder and harder for anything to mask the true colors. it becomes harder and harder for us to be hypocrites. And that is the way it is with our discernment. As we act in empathy, as we take on that perspective, we seek others' perspective, we seek their point of view, and we gain that information. And what actually happens is that we actually see through to who they really are. When you go into, I spent some time in my mundane life doing merchandising work in dollar stores, and dollar store employees are probably some of the most stressed employees. I mean, there's constant, they're always understaffed. There's constantly just carts full of goods to be put on the shelf, and you know, so when I go in thinking how it is, what their day's been like, you know, and to try to come from their perspective, so that I can see through when they respond to me in a short manner, or they're a little bit, you know, curt. I understand that it's not me, it's what they're going through, and I can see through the facade, and I can see through the hypocrisy, because I truly believe that at our heart we are, of course, we are all divine, and we have that divine spark, and that divine spark makes us capable of living divine lives, of living compassionate and loving and caring and giving lives. And too often we've just allowed the coat of paint that we think the world wants to see to cover it up. So take off the mask. Stop being a hypocrite. Be who you are. As I tell my grandchildren, I told them this from when they were real young. Be who you are. Let the world bear the weight of it. We're waiting. Namaste.